Okay, so super nervous. I'm
Yeah,
nervous. Yeah,
I'm nervous. Yeah,
yeah, it's
this
the
is the
first
first
time.
time you're doing this, right?
Yeah, me too. I'm doing
Uh,
the first time.
okay,
Yeah,
it's gonna be all right.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah. So, hi everyone. So, my name is Nav, and today I have with me Martin, and I've been following Martin from last couple of years, and I've been watching his animations. Every animation that he makes is like inspires me to push myself to make even better animations. And I always wondered how he became such an amazing animator in just a couple of years, and I wanted to ask him so many questions. And in just 2 years, he have worked on many big shows like Prehistoric Planet, Primitive War, and many other big shows that he's working on. So I wanted to talk to him from a while, and I also wanted to start this conversation topic in on my channel, so just so that we can talk to some amazing animators and listen to what they have to say and like how they improve their skills and overall their journey in this industry. And so yeah, so hey Martin, am I speaking your name correctly?
Yeah, you're doing correctly. Thanks for your kind words. It's really lovely to hear. Yeah, I'm glad you asked me to go on this conversation. As you mentioned that I inspire you, I have the same thing for you. You got me inspired like a long time ago as well, with all the things you're doing. So I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Thanks, Martin. Like, yeah, it's my like I'm more excited than you are. I will say to for
Hmm.
this. So yeah, I want to hear about you. Like, anything that you want to share about yourself. I want to ask, like, like where you are from and when did you finish your study in animation, and then when did you start working. So I want to start with like listening some more things about your background. Yeah.
So I live in a city called Ghent. It's in Belgium. I lived in my entire life. And as a kid, I always I always loved watching TV, watching Walking with Dinosaurs, The Land Before Time, all this kind of stuff. My dad teach me how to draw to a certain level. So you could say I am a very I liked being a very creative kid. But back then you don't realize like this whole animation industry is a thing that you can do as a job. You just think that all the things that you watch on TV comes with the TV that you bought. So I just um, I just followed my friends. I did the same courses as my friends throughout primary school and high school. But then in my second year, my degrees were not really they were not good at all. I was not in the right place. And then sadly, in the same year, my mom passed away, and that caused me to have like a kind of like a hard reset in my life. And my dad told me, you should do something that you just like and that something that you're interested in. So during that year, I went to a woman at school, and she provided me with a test. And in the test, you could see as a result what kind of field you should be working in. And I put in, of course, all the things from the past, like the Walking with Dinosaurs, the stop motion videos I used to make, the drawing that I like, all this kind of stuff. I just put in the test, and it gave me like sort of a path what I should study. So it put me in high school in new school, which was focusing on graphic design and Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, like all the Adobe software. And I really liked it. I was really in a better place. It was really, I felt really good changing schools and changing courses, and it was just a better fit to me. My grades were better, and just I liked it. Um, and then I graduated high school, and I went to college to a 3D production school as- because of the test. It just told me I should work in the video animation film industry. So therefore, I joined a visual effects school in Belgium. It was a 3-year course, and then they added like a 3D animation course in the last year that I joined. So I hopped on that because I really felt like animation. They gave us like a whole pipeline, all the basics, all the departments, and in animation, I felt like I was enjoying my time the most. So I hopped on the 3D animation course. I graduated, made a short movie with my team back then, and I started making a portfolio. And then Framestore, I applied to Framestore, and they just hired me. So it was a really good opportunity for me back then to just go to London, go to a high-end company, and learn a lot of things. Um, and then, of course, it joining a company in another country. Therefore, you need to give up a lot of stuff. So I went back for personal reasons, and I was kind of forced to become a freelancer because in this industry you don't have an animation studio around the corner every village or city. So I became a freelancer. I joined a couple projects as a freelancer for a year, and now I am. Oh wait, let me just quickly reset my camera.
That's pretty well.
Yeah.
That's it was nice actually. Yeah, zooming in
um,
and
oh, sorry. So I was freelancing for a year, and now I joined Pixomondo. So that's kind of my story. I've been working 2 years in the industry right now, first as an employee and then as a freelancer, and now I think I'll just be freelancing like whenever, how long it works, we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of my journey, a series of good events, bad events, but I'm really happy where I'm at right now, and I feel like I'm in the right job or like in the right field. Um, so yeah, that's kind of a bit my story in short.
yeah. Thanks, Martin. Thanks so much for sharing. It's definitely, I yeah, I felt, very relatable with you, and like with all the ups and downs that you've been, and like it's you are an inspiration to all of us, and I would say like it's uh, I feel happy, like from my heart when I see an animator like you, and and after knowing your story, I respect you even more. I mean, thank you so much for sharing all that. You might have finished your study in like 3 years ago, but you're still animating. You're doing your own research. You're doing your own tests, and like after that, you are still using all that knowledge that
Yeah.
and now from there, I want to ask you, like when you finish studying animation, the level that you have in creature animation, that point, when I see your animation, I see a lot of quality. I see, like it's not just like the first time you just did it. I want to hear more about, like that how many versions do you put in when you make because let's say, and I want to ask you in a way, because there are many animators who are struggling, and there are many animators who cannot make a good enough animation when the first time they go. So what are the struggles you go through when you are starting a new animation? And because you still have to keep polishing, and like you still take it that far, like because it's not your first animation, it's your 20th animation. You put in that amount of work to start with, and that work can get carried with you, like in your next animation. You don't have to spend that much time. Now you already put in that amount of hour. So yeah,
Mm.
please. Yeah.
I think it all comes down on having like a passion for it. Like you mentioned, you're thinking about animation, you go to sleep with thinking about your next projects or future things you could do with animation. And I think that is just pure passion. And I can relate myself to that as well. I'm just always thinking about it in some way. And it inspired me as a kid, and now I am here. So it's just the same thing that happened, that I experienced back then, that is still going on in my brain. Just all the imagination that you could just imagine something as an animator, and you could bring it to a screen for everyone else to see. And I think that is just the most beautiful thing you could do. Um, and that I think that's the thing that drives me to just try a lot of versions. If I'm not happy with it, I go through a lot of mistakes as well. If I start an animation, I I have I had times when I said just I put in like 5 hours of work or like 2 days of work, and I'm like, this is not gonna work. I just throw it away and start again. So I mean, it's just maybe also wanting to have it like you want to have like a you want to have like a perfect animation, even though you're not able to see it yet because you always have these kind of mistakes that you're not seeing because you're not experienced enough. But just this mindset of just being better and become just a good animator that's like a key figure in this industry. I think that's the thing that drives me. And if I have to make like 100 versions um, for it because of it, I mean, I'll do that. I mean, it's just I'm just passionate about animation, and I think that really drives me to. I'm not giving up after the second try or the fifth try. It's just you just want to nail it. You would just want to render it and post it on somewhere for people to see. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it. That's why I don't bother having multiple versions, even though the people don't see all of these versions. I think it's just I'm okay with it to just start over or keep on working on it, or I just want to have like the nicest looking result. Um, I mean, for the level that I'm at right now, I still have to learn things. I still have to do all of these versions and make mistakes, but I'm motivated to just keep it going and till a point where you would say I master this kind of stuff and I could just do anything. Like like if the company has like a really advanced shot and they're like, fuck man, who's gonna do this shot? And they're like, oh, I know a guy. I want to be this kind of guy. I want to
Yeah.
be the guy. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, if you're not into trying stuff and redoing stuff and hearing feedback all the time, then I don't think it's the right industry for you. I think it's you're gonna do a lot of versions in order to have the final result. So it's something you have to bear in mind starting in this industry as well. Um, it's not like a one shot hand in. They're
Yeah.
gonna they're gonna be really rough on your animation, and then you gotta go from there. Like every
It's definitely a tough job. It's like I mean the thing is that like many people like many students they want to come in this industry because they enjoy doing it. So I
Mhm,
mean you have to enjoy doing it that much that you want to go through the entire struggle of I mean your dedication need to be so much that that you need to be able to go through that struggle because we know that how much difficult it is to get good in it because so like yeah so the the one thing is practice. Nobody can deny it. You need to put in a lot of hours, and then there are some workflows. There are some tips and tricks there you can pick up here and there, like some like for example the there are many tricks that we use in so let's quickly go over those tricks, like and then we're going to move on to some other things. So like for example this like some animators, they like to work with this stepped animation. They make the step poses. They
mhm.
make I don't know, like
I don't
I
get it.
cannot. Yeah, me too. I don't. So there's some that's like so. So some likes to work like that. They make the main poses, but my brain goes crazy. Like whenever I think about step animation, it's like a very different kind of animation that you make the main poses, even though like there is a animation principle, like it's called pose to pose and straight ahead.
Mhm,
I'm like a straight ahead kind of guy. Like I make one controller, or maybe I just make one cycle first and then I'll use that cycle for it. So I never I can confess I never animated in my life as with like pose to pose, and even if I animated, I embarrassed myself.
mhm.
I hated myself after making that animation. So
I think it
but some,
also
yeah,
I think it also depends on what kind of shot you're going for.
yeah.
Like for example, if there's some kind of a cycle in your shot, like you did one with the rhino, which was a very good example. If you would do this thing stepped, you would spend so much more time on it because you have all these cycles. You have like a run cycle, the walk cycle, and you can just paste them, and roughly transition them into each other, and you can just fix the transitions. That takes so much more, like that doesn't take as much time as doing all the steps and figuring out where the whole character is going to go and where the feet are going to go. I mean, just having one loop, being able to reuse it throughout the whole animation as is just easier for me. But I could understand if you're into like an acting shot. I could understand why you would use stepped and you want to have like different poses in there. And then I could get why you're using it. But I'm also really into straight ahead animation. I think it's just nicer to work in spline. You can see the curves and the up and downs and the weight shifts just directly, instead of in like a stepped view. I'm not a big fan of it, but some people might use it. It just depends whether you like it or not, because I have like a world space animation workflow. I put like a lot of controllers in world space, so I can clearly see in my graph editor, once something is going up or something is going down, and nothing is influenced by like a hip controller, um, getting rotated, and then the chest is getting rotated. But if you click on the chest, it doesn't have any values on it, which doesn't make sense to me. So I just want to, what you see is what you get. That's what I want, and that's what I have in a world space and a world space animation workflow. But I think you gotta figure out for yourself what you have to try it like once or like twice or like a couple times, um, and then you'll realize what you prefer, I guess. But yeah, I'm not really into stepped animation either. It's I mean, no,
Yeah.
it's not something I
I,
like.
I mean, step animation would be like, maybe if some animator prefers it, that there's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
Mm,
that's their workflow. But like, I feel like, step animation is more for like, acting animation, as you mentioned,
yeah,
like, where or like, stylized animation, where there are like lots of like poses, like, where are weird poses, and like, I mean, stylized poses. And so I mean, for that, I can understand, like, it would work nicely, like,
mm,
but I mean, it also might have to do with, like, the background that we are from, because I feel like these two styles, the creature animation and the stylized animation, they're very different from each other, because they're different tricks for different skills for this one, and there I feel like, there are different skills for that, or different kind of brain that you have to develop for realistic and kind of
yeah.
animation, right?
I
Yeah.
completely agree. They're like two different worlds, and I just dive into this creature animation kind of side because I just like it. I just like the realism in the renders and the fur on top of it and the jiggles and the muscle and the fat and all this kind of stuff. And also just spending time looking at these animals and selling the weight and all this kind of stuff is just more fun. And the movies are not always for kids. I think, and you have some really cool animation, like stylized animation, which are not meant for kids, of course. But as you said, it's like two different worlds, and I just like to spend more time in the creature animation world. But I gotta say, I would love to try out more stylized stuff, and maybe then I'll go. Yeah, stepped animation does work better in this. Um, but I mean, it all comes back to my past, probably the walking with dinosaur stuff and walking with beasts, the movie Dinosaur from Disney. Um, that those kind of shows and the movies sparked my interest. So I think it's for me logical to stay within that style of animation and within that world or like realistic animation. But also the thing that I could only land a job as a creature animator, which bothers me a little bit. I went to Annecy last year, and some people said to me like I applied for illumination once, and they looked at my reel, and it was like a full on creature reel. So they were like, "What are you doing here, man? This is not my. I mean, this is not the place for me to be." Um, so it's good to spend time on one side of animation, like the creature stuff, but I think you're gonna give up like the job opportunities in the stylized world of animation. So I think it's good to just have like a little bit like a taste of both worlds. But I think everyone has like their favorite side,
Yeah.
and I think our side is just the creature animation.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun thing about animation. We have such a giant, field. You can do creature animation, you can do stylized animation, you can do stop motion animation, you can do game animation, you can do 2D animation, and
Mm,
there are so many different kind of animations. And I mean, I would love to definitely dive deeper into other styles. I want to try this stop motion. I
mhm,
always wanted to I can think like a long time ago, when I was a kid, when I found out about how they made this stop motion animation, I was like curious from that point on, that this is really crazy,
mm.
that they can make something like that. And I mean, hopefully at some point I will have courage enough that I want to try this. But so far I'm just a creature animator, and because the thing is that I know how hard it is to become creature animator also, and so it's tiring sometimes, to know that I want to do those animations, but there's so much struggle to get good at it.
Mhm.
So that's another question I want to ask is like, so what's the we need to have that motivation, right, to learn all these things. And so where does your motivation come from? And what makes you want to keep animating? What makes you want to, not right now, right now you're already in industry, maybe when you were a student, when you were just getting started, what was your motivation then? Because you still have to improve your animation, at the same time you also want to get job. So I mean, I want to understand more about that.
I think as a student, I had a really good. I had a lot of good friends in my class, which they pushed me. We made like personal stuff, and whenever like my friend was doing something, I want to do something, and then he was going to do something. So we kind of pushed each other to just keep making animations, which was a very good thing actually, and that really helped me throughout my process of becoming a better animator. So having a friend or like a friend group or like a colleague or I don't know, someone who's just um, like joining you in this adventure of becoming wanting to become like a better animator was it's like really that really motivated me to keep on working, and he was getting better and I want to get better. So that is really one thing that pushed me forward for sure. And then of course I was looking at reels all the time. I was looking at movies. I went to Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, all this kind of stuff in the theaters, and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and you see all this cool animation, and you can clearly see that you are not able to do that at that time. So I wanted to do everything to be able to say I am able to do this kind of shot, um, and I'm still doing that right now. I have to learn a lot of things still, and I have to improve, of course. But I think it's easier as an employee because you get this feedback from a lot of people. Like in my time at Framestore, I worked with Liam Russell, Alvise Avati, Christoph Boyoko, Stuart Ellis, all these kind of people. They have so much knowledge in this industry. They have been animating for like their entire life actually. So all the feedback that they give you and the tips and the tricks and the tools that they've been using, or press this or press. I mean, so many things that you can receive on like a daily basis, which you didn't have as a student. So I think the hardest part is in this industry is being a student in animation because you don't have all the knowledge and all the people and all the skilled professionals around you to propel you into becoming a better animator. So that's yeah. I think what got me through it is just my friends and the passion that I had for animation and watching the reels, that I saw from other students or people in the industry. But for the rest, I think it was just getting my grades right, probably as well. It was a good motivation. But now it's really different. I don't. Back then, it's just you just do a practice of an animation for an assignment, and you just want to pass, and you just. I mean, you have a lot of stuff to juggle between courses and stuff. And now it's totally different. You get thrown inside this world with skilled people, and the motivation is just around you. Like all these people, I
Yeah.
they inspire me. So it's
I mean,
yeah,
you have to find your own motivation, right? So,
yeah, you
I
do.
mean, like it's just like for me, if I don't have job tomorrow, and I did not have job for a good chunk of my time, and I was just animating that time. I was just improving my skills. I spent like almost 2 to 3 years not working after
Mhm.
I finished my first. And I did found work, but that was I don't want to talk about it. It's like not a very like like there are good studios and there are bad studios.
Mm.
So like yeah, so I had some bad experiences. So like after that, I really wanted to find good job at a good studio. I think that's also a good motivation to be to you have like you might want to get as good that you want to get work at those studios. That was my motivation when I was learning. I was like that was the only thing I was thinking, like if my work can get as good as I see in these movies,
Mhm.
then why won't I get job? Why won't I get job? and
Yeah.
and and the same thing to like why won't I get in this industry? Like I mean, if I have a good job. And so I mean that. And like when I was like and I think that helped me get like there's a storm going on in the back.
Mhm.
So yeah. And the second thing is like when I was in this industry, like I can see the fault in my animation. Like I always want to get better. And so like getting better itself is also a good motivation. It's just like you again, like you need to have that love. Like there need to be like the only natural thing inside you, I feel like you need to have is the love for animation.
Mhm.
And it's a yeah, I mean, and like you mentioned, like regarding this, like your work with Avise Avati, like he inspired me a lot too. Like when I was learning animation, I was watching the videos he used to post on YouTube, and and it's just like knowing that there's a guy in this industry, and like seeing his work. This was also inspiring for me, like to just keep getting better. Back in the days, I made a like a he Abhishek Avadi, like he worked in this the King Kong film, like the 2005 one. And he did some great animations in there, and I was really inspired, like back in the days, like 10 years ago. And that time there were not really there were no good rigs available online. Only like there are very bad rigs available online. So
Mhm.
right now there are amazing rigs available. But so I found the closest guy I can found, like to the Kong I could find, and the very basic dinosaur. And I end up making like a 25-second long, like a dinosaur versus ape animation. Back in the
Mhm.
days, I was just sitting in my room for 6 months just animating this thing. Not I didn't even realize the 6 months were past, and I was just making this animation. I was not working. Thankfully my parents provided me to survive while I was
Mhm.
learning.
Mhm.
So I mean, but yeah, after I mean, what's how was your experience working, um, with Avisi Avati? Like, I wanted to definitely ask you about that. Yeah.
It was fun. It was super fun. For me, the guy is a total legend. Like coming from a student, graduating and going directly under supervision of Alvise, for example. I mean, I looked up to him as well as a student, and being under his supervision was amazing. Like I said before, the things that these people have, like the knowledge they can apply onto you, is really really valuable. um, and he's just I mean, he's super fun to work with. He's like a funny guy. He jokes all the time. He used to just he draws like a dick on a note and just he shoves it to the other people. I mean, he's this kind of guy, and I really appreciate him. It's super fun to be around him. And then his animation knowledge, of course, like you mentioning the Kong and the King Kong animation. He did like the jaw opening up. I mean, that is just super cool stuff. And also, he started animation when he was 30 years old, which is for me some like a thought that I sometimes think about. Like, I shouldn't be so hard on myself, not being in a high end company. For example, if I left Framestore, I left Framestore like a year ago, and I was like, ah, damn, I'm taking a step back, and I'm not um I'm not doing well, I guess, in this industry anymore. But then I was thinking about Alvise starting at 30 years old, and I was 23 back then. So it's a good thought for me to just think back on that I have still time. Um, yeah, and working with him is just amazing, man. Like I said, the knowledge that this guy has is super valuable. He's super fun to hang around with. So yeah, I would highly recommend Alvise to be your supervisor for sure. Yeah.
Hopefully I hope I'll get a chance at some point.
Yeah.
It's I would love to, work with all these amazing people. Like, the thing is that with animation, like, sometimes it does, like, when you have experience, like, you start to feel a little bit like, that, yeah, I already know enough, but
Mm,
you never know enough. Like, only next year when you look back, you see your work, then you realize that, you could have done this better. And,
mm,
like, it's been like 10 years now. Like, there's not a single year that I never looked back and I never felt embarrassed, like, that I could have done it better. But
yeah.
yeah, but these
I
like,
have
yeah, yeah,
I have the same thing. Like I have my portfolio, and I'm still having my walk cycle with the Indominus Rex that I did like 3 years ago. But every year I come into an opportunity. Like I went to Framestore, and then I recycled that walk cycle, and I improved it, and then I rendered it again, and I uploaded it again, and I mean the reactions were better. And then I was freelancing for a year, and I had like another supervisor, which taught me to he taught me like a lot of dinosaur creature animation tips and tricks. So I reused the same cycle and uploaded it again, and every year just it got a better cycle, even though I thought it couldn't look any better. But every year it's just upgrading itself, and it kind of reflects my knowledge getting upgraded as well. So I think that's a really good thing to do, to just look back at your work. Have you ever just recycled animation and just improved it, or have you?
I'm really bad in managing my files. So
Okay.
I can't, sometimes I like I struggle back. So I lost all my pictures because of this. I don't know where are my old pictures.
Mm,
I used to save it on drive, and then, I have like 5 6 drives, and they're
mm.
full. So I think because of this bad habit, I cannot, go back, and I keep, finding new creatures to work with. And yeah,
I think it's good because a lot of people tend to say like, "Oh man, starting a new project is like a really big thing. I'm not ready for like weeks of animation, starting something new." I think it kind of motivates me, or keeps it makes my life way easier if I'm not as motivated to just pick up something old, which I think doesn't look good anymore. But I do have like a base to work on, and from a base, of course, it can go really fast. Um, so that's a really good tip I could give like students of yours, or people watching this. If you just pick up some old animation that you not like anymore, just improve it, and make it as good as you want, and then you just like an entire new piece, right? Everyone
yeah,
forget how your walk cycle from 2 years ago. I mean, so it's easy to just reuse it and put in like a new jacket, um, and it's just way less work. So it's like these easy projects that I have. Sometimes I just use animation from a while back. I just put it in like a new environment, or I improve the cycle, and then for me it's like a different piece. And then my portfolio keeps upgrading every time I do this, and I hope eventually I'll have like a nice portfolio, which I'll be happy about every piece that I make. And you don't have to scrap animation as well. Then you can just upgrade it instead of throwing it away. I think it's just way easier to yeah. So I think that's a good idea to do.
No, it shows like that you are like you learn animation for 3 years, and then you are in this industry for like now 3 years now, and you already have this many animations that that you like you I can see that amount of work you put in to like to improve your skills, and like to build all that understanding of the creatures, like just but and that's how I think that's the best way to keep improving,
Mm,
like I mean for sure it's nice to have mentors, like I mean when some mentors are very important, like when especially when you can't see, and that's the good thing about industry. You by default you have a mentor, you if you are working in a studio, like because you'll keep getting notes on your animation, right? So I
mm,
mean that's our life is just we keep getting notes on our animations, and
yeah, yeah,
we keep learning, right? And
yeah.
yeah, especially like when you're learning animation, it's better to get some like good mentor who can like like teach you. And but yeah, it's I mean I this was just the base I wanted to start with, like because I feel the especially right now the and like especially the students who are getting started, getting into like graduated, and who are learning, so they
Mm.
need motivation, like what's their motivation to keep learning? Is it just the industry, or like is or do you really like because it's not just industry, like even you yourself is a storyteller, you should have that much confidence in you that you are the one who's gonna tell stories. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's. I think being a student in this industry is the hardest part, because you don't have anything to show. At least, I mean, you have your school assignments. But for example, for me, I have been working in this industry for like 2 years now. But on my page, there's nothing professional, like just nothing like a reel from a movie that I've worked on, because it's all just pending and it needs to be released. So um, that way, I was kind of forced to make my own personal projects, because of course I want to land the job and I want to land the next job as well. But if I don't receive my shots from the company because the movie is not released yet, then I won't be able um, to get my next gig, right? So um, I just had this mindset in as a student of um, create this. I just want to create the stuff that I couldn't create on school or in my first job. Maybe they give you like a junior position, so you would be animating flies or like simple shots. But I feel like if you want to upgrade and climb the ladder fast, you need to put in the work in your personal portfolio. You need to do something advanced that is out of this junior position role, and then I think you might be able to land like a mid animator, like a senior job earlier than instead of just being in a company and animating the shots that you're doing and applying with the shots that you did. I think it's having a personal portfolio is a really good way to just show that you are more than what you're doing at the job, for example.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
having a portfolio without your personal animation, I feel like it's not a full portfolio. I mean,
yeah,
it's kind of a fake portfolio.
it doesn't
I mean,
represent you,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't like it's like studio work is kind of a collaboration kind of work. Like
Mm,
you have to work with other artists. Like sometimes you're using some other artists' work, and I mean the real work is actually your personal work. So that's why yeah, for sure getting a job is the highest priority, like for anybody who's getting started. But like in the world of animation, I feel like it's a very deeper world, like where it's not, yeah, you're gonna get better at job, and but you need to have that much respect of for animation that you want to become like an animation sensei, like that
Yeah.
the people, the amazing people like that, we like Richard Williams and all those people, like Disney, like you need to want to be that much big, that I want to learn that much, that I want to, like for that it's just learning. It's not job. Job is, you're going to get better at, but you should try to keep telling stories, try to keep getting better, try to keep
Mhm.
creating stuff, whatever resources that you have, yeah.
It
And
also shows you
yeah,
that you're passionate. Like if your page is, you have like an Instagram page which has like loads of animations, personal stuff. I mean, for a recruiter or like a soup who's scrolling on Instagram and he sees this kind of stuff. I mean, it just screams that you're passionate about it, and it just sells you as a good employee. For me, I guess like all my opportunities are because of me posting my personal stuff online, and I think they might see that I just love this kind of stuff. So I mean that makes me a good employee already, or like I mean, yeah, I think that's just, if I would be a recruiter and someone's making animations all the time on LinkedIn or Instagram, I would of course pick this kind of guy because he likes it and he's not
yeah,
doing it because it's a job. It's just,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, you have to be that kind of guy to survive in this kind of industry for sure. When I say this kind of industry, I feel like yeah, industry is always going up and down, and like it's always going to keep changing shapes, and like how, what's your like what's your destination, that you like, you want to be like, how for me, my destination, my goal in life is like that I want to be, just keep becoming a good animator, and whatever stories I can tell using this art form, that's what the kind of guy I want to be. So I want to ask you one more sorry, one more question about working as a freelancer and working as a studio. So
Mm.
how's your journey working as a freelancer, because you did some freelancing work as well, right? So how's your experience, like with
Um,
that?
well, I started off as an employee in Framestore, so I did that for over a year, and then I went back and I started freelancing for a year, and now I'm still freelancing. So now I can see the difference now. That's like positive sides and negative sides on each side. I think being an employee was nice to, you can go to a studio, you have colleagues, you have a salary every month. It's you get projects year after year. You have like if you have like a safe contract as an employee in a company, I think it's a really comfortable way of animating and having animation as a job. But freelancing for me was, the difference in freelancing for me was that I can work from home. I can work for the entire world. I don't have a studio to go to, or at least not all of the projects that I have. I cannot go to all the studios. So it's lonely for sure. But I mean, there's ways to work around that, like co-working, this kind of stuff. You earn more money because it's also, you carry more risk, right? If they want to let someone go, they're gonna let the freelancer go because he's not part of the company. It's not, yeah, he's just attached to it, right? So I think it's nice to be attached to all of these projects and then hopping over the next project and trying different pipelines and companies and all this kind of stuff. It's definitely not as comfortable as being an employee, but for me, I like it because being a freelancer means also that I can pick up multiple projects. I could work for Pixo from 9 till 6, and then I can pick another project up for in the evening or in the weekends, for example. And then it's all legitimate with the, I mean, invoices and this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And I am in this mindset to, I like to work on animation projects. So for me, it's the best choice to be a freelancer and pick up as many projects as I can whenever I feel like I'll have the time for it and the motivation. And being in a company, yeah, it's just, I think you can climb the ladder easily. or easier. You can come be mid or senior in a couple of years. You can be a supervisor in a company. I'm a bit scared if I can become a supervisor one day as a freelancer. I don't know. We'll see. And to catch up on the topic, that what I want to do in my next couple of years in my future with animation, I think I want to do kind of the same stuff that you're doing, selling courses, being a mentor for people, just working on nice projects with some cool companies. And I think the way to do that is by being a freelancer. I think that is, if you're in that kind of environment, and you have this kind of like a status, I think it's easy to, or not, it's not easy, but it's easier to attach all of these external things to you, as an animator, instead of doing this all as being an employee somewhere. I'm not. That's just my. That's how I experience it, or how I think about it. That might be different. But for me now, I think freelancing is for me the best way to go. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. No, I mean, amazing. It's really nice to hear this. And what, like, so I can ask you, like, what are the things that you do to increase your chances to, so that, you are the, why, like, how do you find these opportunities, and, how, like, what's the, how to make yourself available for these opportunities? Like, I think you are the best person I can ask this to.
Well, thanks. I love making an Instagram page or like a LinkedIn page. I just post my personal stuff there, and you get. I don't care about likes and views, but if it's about art, and if you create something and people start to like that and start to view that, I think it's different. It's not. If I don't get any likes on the selfie I post, I don't care. But like in an animation, and people, and it goes viral, and people, you have like a million views, I think these kind of stuff just motivates me to want to have that again. I just want to put work out there, um, for people to see. I guess that motivates me really well. That, like, these social platforms. I just want to stick my head out, right? If I want to be seen by recruiters, or if I want to become the best applicant of like all the others that applied for the job, I just want to be the guy that sticks his head out and is different from all the rest. And having these social platforms really helps me to do that, and keep on pushing me to do more stuff, because you create like a following. If you're like a 10K followers, for example, I mean, you're kind of obligated to just keep on posting stuff, because if you're in if you have this kind of people following you, and you have this crazy amount of people that watch your work, they're gonna expect something from you. So I think that's a good way to just start a page, get connections out there, is really helpful as well. Just talk to people. If you want to get feedback, just reach out to people. They can say no, but they can also say yes. So it's up to you to just go out there and message people, and show your work to people. And I think that is something that really makes yourself interesting to land a job. I guess just posting your stuff and messaging, just be active on all of these things. That's the thing that helped me a lot on receiving projects. So yeah, I could only just tell other people to do the same thing.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, I've that's the world I wish to live in, where there are lots of freelance projects available. And and even if there are no freelance projects available, I wish, like, we like, we all of us artists, like, we can, all have some collaboration works going on, like, so that we are all building some things together, like, I want to, like, I think, I feel like, that's where we are heading, where, we individuals, like, we are creating stuff, we are, like, for sure we have to find a way to make that into a living. But, I think, the amount of joy that you get when your animation is successful, and, when you get a good feedback from socials, is definitely full, it fulfills something inside me, that that yeah, I am doing the right thing, like that
Mm.
my animation is working. It and like it also it inspires you to just keep going,
Yeah,
keep
right.
doing this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, myself, like my next few years, I mean, right now it's just all over the place, like what I want to do. Sometimes I want to make a short film. Sometimes I want to make a
Mm.
short game demo. Sometimes, like so I have all these things that I want to do, and there's not enough time for it. Then there's not enough you know I mean, like, you need to have that much time to do that, right? So I mean, as an artist, like as an animator, I feel like you need to be crazy like this, like you
Mm.
need to have your things keep going in front of you, like you want to animate even if you don't have any freelance, like that's what I did that for most of my life, like when I was not working. I was just animating by myself, and
Mm.
I mean, I was okay doing that. And yeah, I mean, yep.
Yeah, it's like it needs to be like a hobby, right? I also have
Yeah.
this thing, right? If I watch a movie, I would be in the mind of like in my mind goes like, oh man, I just want to animate. Like just spending time watching TV is nice with my girlfriend. I think it's lovely, but I wouldn't watch a movie on my own. I rather spend my time just creating something. I think that's what what people like to do, like creating and watching a movie or scrolling on their phone. I mean, that might not fulfill their needs. I mean, I don't know how to say it. Just sometimes I feel like doing a certain thing is like a waste of time, like scrolling my phone. Sometimes watching a movie could be like a waste of my time. Um, and then I'm like I'd rather be just animating and do something and yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way. So
I feel all the time, like
yeah.
it's I want to feel that relief, when you're done with the school and you don't have anything to do.
Hmm.
I want to feel that. So sometimes, when I don't have anything to do outside of work, I feel like kind of that, oh yeah, like as if like I mean, when I just have work, when I'm not doing anything other than work, I feel like I'm on a holiday or something.
Mm.
That's what I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like.
yeah.
When okay, when I'm just working for a studio, and like I'm just watching films in my free time, or just doing like playing games. I feel like I'm on a holiday, like, and I'm not using my time enough. Like
Hmm.
I'm not being productive. So I
Yeah.
feel that. So I need to keep myself busy even outside of work.
But
I feel lucky, when I get to do overtime. I don't know, it's a bad thing, but when I get to do overtime, I feel lucky that, man. Yeah, bring.
I think it,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's good for you to have like these kind of goals in the future. Like you mentioned, you want to have like a demo game, and like all these other stuff that you just think like things you want to create, but you think you don't have enough time for it. But sometimes it's just doing the first step, and then it can go really fast from there on. I have like the same thing. I just want to sell courses, and I think, yeah, I don't have time after work. But then creating like a spreadsheet with what kind of courses you want to sell, it takes like maybe 20 minutes of like writing your ideas down. It's like the first step, and it's easier to go to the second step then. It's just you gotta ignite this kind of goal that you wanna do, and I think I'm just constantly thinking about all of these things while I'm watching a movie. I wanna get these things going that are in my head right now.
yeah,
And I feel like you have the same thing. If you have so many things that you want to do, and then if you're on a holiday, for example, or playing games, and you're like, oh man, these things are not. I mean, these things keep getting pushed if I don't start on it. But sometimes you just need to step away from it as well. I believe. I just animating your entire day, entire week, or like a whole month isn't healthy.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, it probably works like an addiction, right? Just
It is
yeah.
kind of addiction, like I
Mm.
mean, I keep convincing myself that I'm working hard, like I and so, but like time to time I realize that this is like addiction, like I mean,
Mm.
it's like a game that working for you, you're getting money
Mm.
for it, and now you are like doing it 24/7, and you can call it hard work, but you are just having fun doing it, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and you might end up doing too much. I mean, yeah, for sure, it's that's bad. But I mean, if you're just getting started, I mean, you have to do too much. I mean, that's
Yeah,
we all did, and that's why we are young. We have energy, but yeah. I mean, when you
that's
are,
also
like, yeah,
a good topic actually, because when I started off in Framestore, I I always try to give like 200% of myself, and they mentioned like you don't need to rush things, or you don't need to go too fast, but you just want to prove yourself, and you just want to show that you're worth being an employee there. So what would you say? Would you give yourself like 200%, or would you give the things that you have, because otherwise they might expect like the 200% like every time from you? What would you say?
I like I think right now, like, I just end up giving 2% anyway. I mean, I
Mm,
feel empty, like, if I'm not giving 200%. Like, I mean,
mm.
I don't know how to give less than that. I
But
mean,
do you
that's
feel
the
like your people at work expect like the 200% from you, or do you think if you're just having a bad day, then they might think that you're lacking, or you're not doing a good job, or you're not
I mean,
thinking about that?
this fear always kick in time to time,
Mm,
like, if I'm not doing good enough, even because yeah, it's this fear always kick in, and like, and I mean, it's just a fear in the end of the day.
mm,
Like, you are who you are. Like, I
mm,
mean, I feel like, it's not nothing you can do that can change your life in one day. Like, you have to build yourself with years. So, like, I mean, that fear is, maybe it's just like a, I don't know, what to do about it. It's just like a it's an uncertainty. Like, sometimes we all feel we
I
don't have.
think everyone has it. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
like, I think nobody have perfect answers for their life, right? We are all figuring out how to survive. I feel like, one thing I wish there was, I wish, we all could make short films, and we could sell them, as a piece of art.
Mm,
I mean, you can sell paintings, right? You can sell paintings, you can sell, I mean, there should be a platform where, you can own a short film, and you can just, or maybe, even like in Netflix, or something. Like, if I wish there are platforms who can, buy short films, and we can also all just animate for a living. Like,
mhm,
not we're not worrying about, like, for example, like you mentioned about the courses, right? Courses are great, and but I feel like, I wish I don't have to sometimes just animate for courses, because it takes a good amount of time to, make a product. It's a
mhm,
I wish I can make that product as a story, as a, and but it's too expensive to right now, to make a full film, and to
mhm.
sell it. I don't know, like, I just, my goal is, like, my hope for future is that, I wish at some point I can just make a living, just animating by myself, what the stories that I want to tell, stories that I feel relatable, stories that feel meaningful. And, like, and right now, I wish, like, artists can just work for themselves. Like, I wish, like, in that way day was possible. And I hopefully, we that maybe if we keep working on it, maybe that's every artist goal. Maybe I don't know how it works, but yeah,
I think
I don't know what
yeah.
I'm talking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people, there's also a difference in animators for sure. Like, for example, you are an employee at a company, but you're trying to build up like your own animation empire, which has like different, like you sell courses, you have mentorship classes, you want to have like a game that people can buy. So there's this thing of joining a company, but whenever they let you go, they're just your whole animation story is done, and whatever you have is like you have like your own empire of animation things, and you can rely on that as well. So I think it's a really inspires me. I really want to do that as well in the future, just having your own little things attached to you that is based on animation, like courses, being a mentor, having your own. Maybe you sell alembics to people, or maybe you have your own short movies that, yeah, people could buy. I see what you mean. But
Yeah.
just having more things except than being an employee as an animator. I think that's really important. But I don't think a lot of people, or not all the people, are just ready for this kind of stuff, or
Yeah.
they're not able to take all of this kind of pressure, or yeah. But yeah, there's also this thing of not having not enough time, and you're tired after work, so you maybe you don't have the motivation to get all this kind of stuff. But I feel like if you're going really slow and step by step, I think you can go really far having your own like empire, animation empire thingy, um, like you have, for example, right now. What you are doing is it's great. Love it.
Like Seneca, like in this year, like Seneca College, they with the mentors, like they created some few, I think they do this every year, like I was not aware of all the things that they are doing, so they are doing great. So they made short films that looks very similar. The story was amazing because they had a very experienced story professor, and so with all the help of the professors, they built some really nice films, and
Mhm.
they are as good as like Netflix, those Love, Death, Robots. Like I mean, I, this kind of things really inspire me. Like
Mhm.
when you like it, and I wish like there's more support for artists to grow their skills on. And right now it's just we all have to figure out by ourselves, and so yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, what we can do is like we can keep doing our best, and hope for a better world for us as an animators. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. Yeah.
It's tricky, right? Because I sometimes tend to see all other animators as competition. Like if you apply for the same job, then it's gonna be you or me or him or she or whatever. But at the same time, we're all in this together, and we can use each other and collaborate on cool stuff to create opportunities. Um, and that's what I try to do with some people, just who are down to just do a collab, and instead of seeing people as a competitor, like a competition, just stick your head together and create something really nice, and then you can go your own ways with the opportunities you were given by the result of the project you did, for example.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly like for example, let's say we all decided to make a project, and there should be a way to calculate that how much did you how much work did you do,
Mm,
so that so like so that there was a way, like outside of the the system of investments, like so that like, because like as just for example, like a farmer waits for 6 months until the crop is big enough, and then
mhm,
he sells it, right? So like for example, like so similarly, like if like an artist like have a work that they produced, and like or as a team, like let's say they, but yeah, it's kind of possible, like but right now to make a really good game, it needs like I mean, you can say that that I want to, I'm gonna make a game, but it's like a team effort, right?
mhm. Yeah, for
So
sure.
I don't know, I'm just talking in dreams, but I
No,
feel like I
no.
wish.
I think you just
Yeah.
gotta connect with the right people, and they're definitely out there. People who just want to create stuff. People like, for example, you and me, that just are in the same mindset of not just being an employee in animation, but creating something bigger and nicer. And I think if you connect to the right people, then you are able to do this kind of stuff and to finish, for example, a game. Or I mean, people have done it already, so why wouldn't you and I be able to do it, or someone else?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's kind of my goal, like to have a studio, like where I
Hmm.
can I can where like if somebody want to make it, if somebody have a really good story, and and like so we just get together and we make something. And it's just because right now it's all just like it's not like it's realistic, it's all dreams. But that's what we do, like as an animator, we just dream of some things, we dream
Hmm.
of telling a story, and like we just keep animating. We keep like we want to make a creature walk in the forest and doing something. We just make that's a quick little scene, and then that like for example that rhino animation that I did is just like I was thinking I wanted to make I had a like a space and scene in mind, like a rhino running in there. Look, I wanted to create it, and then I just created it, and I felt the satisfaction of just creating it. And like how was your experience, like working with the Prehistoric Planet, animating all those creatures
It
and like in
was
the yeah.
super fun. Have you seen the trailer already? Have you seen
Oh,
it?
yes, yes. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was, I think there's no better project for me to be on, and it was my first ever project. So every every month or every 2 months we got to go on a new episode, and each episode exists out of two characters. So like a tiny squirrel to like a big sloth in the same sequence. So you're animating something really fast, and then the next hour you're animating something really heavy and big and slow. And then in the other episode it would be like a cat and a kangaroo, or like a saber-tooth tiger, and then some kind of like a sea cow. Or so every month is just a new creature, and it was just super fun. Like all the variation I had was, I mean, it was amazing. And then you get to look into these kind of creatures. How would they move? How would they how did they live? So you go into references and you look for research pages. And there was like a paleontologist on the show as well, and he would, like a scientist with an animator to just create like a vision how it would be. It's just, I think it's just amazing to see these creatures coming to life that we haven't seen before. um it was super fun. I really enjoyed my time there. It was
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what we need. We need these kind of projects, like
Mm,
like for example, this other movie like Primitive War. I haven't seen it. I mean, I'm excited to see it. I mean, we we have so many animators, and we need more stories like this.
mm,
I mean, that's what I like. It gives me hope when I see projects like this coming to life, and not just always like that so something new coming out, and where we are telling stories with the creatures.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to see more stuff like this, and that's what we need as an animators. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope so.
Yeah.
Because my goals were always like working at Weta and working on Avatar and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and all this kind of stuff. But I realized that working on a show like Prehistoric Planet, which has like just grazing kangaroos or just simple stuff, is just also super fun to work on. So it really changed my mind on animation. It doesn't have to be like a dragon fighting a giant ape, or a King Kong throwing some kind of a skull crawler into a building. It doesn't have to. It doesn't need to be that, but it's just, it can be really super simple and laid back and natural. Um, yeah, like shows like Prehistoric Planet is just, it was a nice thing to do, to just like do a documentary thing instead of like an action thing. And I really hope there are more projects coming out like this. And yeah, would be something for you as well. I think would be super
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, that's like the pure kind of stuff all animators want to do,
Mm,
especially creature animators. Where like you can just keep animating. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just keep
mm,
animating.
mm.
So yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's great to it was a great talk. Like Martin, there's one last thing I want to ask, which is your workflows.
Yeah.
So now it's let's quickly spend some time like talking about the animation workflows. uh, so like let me share some of my workflows, like that I usually recommend, like that that's like you need to have that as a base. So
Hmm.
now what else base would you recommend? After that I will let you speak. So for me, the Richard Williams, like the books in that one, like there was a step process, which was called the contact down pass up. So so when you are making a walk cycle, there are four main things happening: contact, then down pose, then pass, then up. So and then that kind of that entire thing, that concept, that evolved my brain of how I understand walk cycles and creatures, and how they walk. So that was an amazing understanding that I got. So I feel like if some animators dig deeper into that kind of mastering that contact down pass up properly, I think they can animate any creature which can
Mm.
walk, or any leg, any amount of legs. uh, and uh, and other than that, the for example, the locators that you mentioned, using locator to control the rig the way you want. Sometimes you want very specific kind of orientation, so that saves a lot of time. That makes your life easier, how to animate. Maybe at some point we can dig live workflows on how we can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
But how what are other workflows, that you have in your mind, that always help you in animation? Yeah.
I tried a few different ones, and now I tend to do the same one over and over again. I'm just using the same workflow every time I do this animation. Um, First of all, I just spend time watching references, and if I gather all my references, I wouldn't put them like on the screen in my file here, here, and here. I would combine them into in Premiere Pro and have like my animation, my final animation, as a referenced version of it. So I can see already what my animation is gonna look like with just different snippets of references. So it would I would just line if, for example, a cat, and the cat is laying down. That's one reference. Then I have a reference of a cat standing up. That's another reference, and a cat running away. And it could be that the cat is jumping. So I have like five different references, and just I play them after each other, and I make sure the cat is on the same spot in each reference. And that's what I use to just map out what I want in my actual scene, or the timing. And so I already have that, like the poses and the timing. So all I need to do now is just put that into my Maya, and 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 replicate this kind of stuff, right? So I tend to do like a chess piece animation of the overall position of the character, with the base controller, or with the controller above. I don't know, something that pushes the entire character. And then I would do some poses on the on the main controllers, like the chest, the hip, the feet. And whenever I think that is roughly looking like I want it to look, I put my base controller back um, on the position where I need it, because I don't want the base controller to move. Right, just it needs to be stationary. And then I put my controllers, my main controllers, in world space, which is also a tricky thing, because if you're putting something in world space, you are able to break the rig, and you're able to just you could get like not a natural looking result. So I tend to do a rough version, and then I switch to main world space controllers, and then I figure out the weight shift first from the hip. And whenever I think that looking correctly, I map out the feet also in world space. So if I know where the feet are going to go, when I know the leg is extended or not extended enough, so I have to push the hip a little bit. It's like a constant back and forth thing with the hip and the feet, right? And whenever I'm happy with that, I'll go to the chest, and do the overlap, and then on the head as well. So it's, for me, it's good to have these things in world space. So I know what I want in my head. I would know what I want to see on these controllers, and then I kind of have to go back and forth the entire time to just make them work and make sure that they don't break. But I mean, it's just, for example, a head, a chest, and a hip, and your feet. So it's like four things that you need to get right. and whenever that's right, I mean, it's kind of hard to fuck up, right? So a tail, I tend to use like an overlapper. I mean, why would you hand key it if an overlapper does like a really beautiful natural result? And then I do the jiggles and the facial afterwards, and so yeah, that's kind of the workflow I tend to use. Just getting the chess piece animation, baking it on 5 keys, my main controllers, switching them to world space, so I have like a good idea of what's happening with all of these controls in space, and then I'm kind of welding them together and making sure if I move the head, then the chest get influenced by that like a couple frames later, and then every movement, I do these passes of movements going through the body. If if a head rotates, or you do like a jiggle on the head, like a shake on the head, I want to feel that shake in the chest like a couple frames later, but just in a tiny, just a bit less, and then I want to feel the head shake in the hip as well, even more later, and then in the tail. So it feathers out the entire body. Like whatever happens to the hip needs to feather out through the head and through the tail. So that's the thing I try to do a lot. Just see where the movements are traveling through, and they need to feather out.
Yeah.
Of course, it's happening from every direction, so it's a bit
Yeah.
of a puzzle. But I mean, if you focus on these 5 controllers, your main controllers, then if you think about it, it's not a really big deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
maybe
No.
it's good to just hide the other controllers, just make the head visible, the chest and the hip and the feet, and don't care about the jiggle controllers or the album aim or this kind of stuff. Just
Yeah.
keep it simple first, and then yeah, apply all the other stuff.
I mean, when somebody gets started, like, just getting things right is all itself is a huge amount of task. Like,
Mm,
so
yeah.
like, just making, like, making, wrapping your head around the entire thing, like, that you're gonna animate this 10-15 seconds of animation, and now all the things need to be on the right spot. And,
Mm,
I mean, animation is like, like, so that's, I will say, like, the technical side of animation, which you should master, as an animator. I mean, I mean, that you are developing a kind of artistic side, you are developing an eye, but that's like it's only going to get back developed with time. So like,
mm,
you have to just stay consistent. But yeah, for sure, you need to have your passion as an animator. But as a technical side, it's really important to master like some of these skills, like, some as many techniques as you can learn from from, and the main technique is, like, how we walk. And because yeah, as you just mentioned, like, it's a puzzle game, and we're like, even if a footstep, a small foot move, or even if a small head move will ripple through the entire spine.
mm,
Say, like, for example, a roar is not just opening mouth, it's just it's something that entire body is trying to, it's like,
mm,
taking out air from inside, and roaring, and like, start from the tummy, like, so there are a lot of things involved in simple roars. And like, and sometimes, like, when we're getting started, we see these things as just few poses happening.
yeah.
But then then you realize slowly that, like, you can also try to relate the animation to your body, and you can always observe how your body is walking, right, and how
Yeah,
you're moving
yeah.
around. Yeah.
You have to break it down as well. Like if you see an animation, like a complete final animation, and it's doing a roar and a head shake, and it's getting slammed by something. I am always thinking like, oh man, what the heck? Well, how is this guy animating this? But if you would look at the files, it start off with like a simple foot going like this, for example, super simple, and then you can just polish later. You need to focus on specific parts first. Like, okay, now I'm gonna do a weight shift pass, and then the next pass will be like the chest overlapping the weight shift, and then the next pass will be the head overlapping the chest, for example. So all of these things come together in different passes, and then you do like a roar, and then do the roar, and then you do an animation layer which affects like the chest and the hip, that the work that you've done before. But I mean, there's so many steps that you need to. I mean, if you look at the first version in like in a big company, and for example Jurassic World, and an animator just submits their first version, it's not gonna look nice. It's just rough. It's just to sell the AD. It's just to make sure the timing of whatever already happens is correct. I think a lot of people are like, oh man, I cannot do this type of animation, or this scope of animation. But if you would break it down, I think they could, for sure. You just have to. It's like building on top of each other, right? All the first the legs, then I'm gonna do a pass on the hip. I'm gonna do a pass on the chest and the head, and I'll do a weight shift there, and all of these kind of passes will just end up being your final result. Um, and but I get it why you would be thinking like, oh, I cannot do that, because you're not thinking of all the steps the animator has been through to achieve this kind of animation. I think that's what a lot of people forget. Yeah.
Yeah. And the feeling, like, that we develop is like, when we are animating as a creature animators, I feel like we move with the creatures, like, as creature is moving, our brain and our body itself
Mm.
is reacting to
You're
it.
going
And
like this while you're
yeah,
animating. You're like,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
roaring at your
With the-
screen. Yeah, yeah,
with the steps, like, you actually feel it when the creature is walking. You relate to it, and you
yeah,
try to, like, it's like a language that you're trying to learn how to,
yeah. And
how creatures walk and stuff, like, how do they do their activities. Yeah,
you need to indeed feel whatever needs to happen. Whatever needs to happen, you need to feel it. Like, if do I feel like this creature is heavy? Because you could animate like a heavy creature, but it can look light because the way you're animating it. So whenever you do like an impact on the hip or the feet or whatever, suddenly you get this feeling like, oh, this feels heavy. This is there's like a lot of overlap now. It feels heavy. So you have to tick this kind of like a checkbox of, okay, yeah, now it feels heavy. Um, yeah, yeah, it's indeed the feeling that you need to just, yeah, yeah,
that's great.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's in the end, like, it's just there are very few tools. Like, I mean, how many tools are there in Maya like to become an animator? I mean,
Mm,
like, you need to press. You need to, if you press S at one spot, move stuff something, and then press S again. You are an animator.
mm,
Now you just have to learn how to make it more
mm,
complex.
mm.
You can add layers to it. You can learn how to modify the graph. I mean, it's a very simple knowledge, but you can, we are trying to make it. You're trying to learn to the complex levels. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's, yeah, sorry,
yeah.
go for it.
No, please. Yeah. I was going
Yeah,
to the next question,
Maya
guys.
Maya has like a standard version. Maya is pretty good. You can do solid animation, but it's all the tools that are out there by the people, that are made by the people and made by the artist, that you can use to just make your life way easier, or to animate just faster and stuff. So I think it's really important for people just to go out there and to buy a $10 script, because it's really worth it. You don't, I mean, when I was starting off in animation, I was like, I'm not gonna pay $10 for a script. I think it's just a useless way of spending my money. But now I'm just spending money to just buy scripts, and it's just, I mean, everyone
Yeah.
should do it. It just makes your life way easier, and like one button to animate a tail instead of a day animating a tail. I mean, I would
100%.
I, I would pay $10 for that for sure. Mm,
Definitely, like, yeah, like ragdoll. It's that's a plugin that, I mean,
that's a real gem. Yeah.
I cannot live without it. I
Mm,
cannot live without anymore, because it's the way your brain evolves. Yeah. So yeah. Uh, uh, Thanks, Martin. It was like, great talk, and all the things that we talk. I wanted to, share these things with. I always wanted to talk about these things with somebody like, yourself, who have animated like such an amazing creatures, and, like, in just a short amount of time you achieve a lot of things. and like not just in industry, even outside industry as a freelancer, like you did great things. And like and I, somewhere inside us, like we all wanted to have that kind of confidence that even if I don't have job tomorrow, I'll be fine. I'll find a great like a freelance work. I will find like my some opportunities there. We all want to feel that confidence as an artist. And like and most more importantly, like we want to keep improving our work. We want to be at that level. Our work need to be at that. We want to have that much quality of work that that we can have that kind of stage on the in the world. So yeah. Yeah, great. Thanks so much, Martin, for the talk. And and yeah.
It was super fun to talk to you, man. It was a pleasure to just talk about my journey and just have a conversation with you. So we should do a workflow video on animation sometime and just talk again. But it was nice. It was super nice to just yeah, just talk about this. I've never done this before, so it was my first time.
Yeah,
But I
same here.
definitely enjoyed it. So thanks for asking me, and thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thanks, Martin. I mean, same here. I like I the goal here is just to uh, I, I feel like there's not like we can like continue improving our skills and keep sharing our knowledge. I mean, what's the harm in that? So yeah, I mean we are just like and I am so glad that I got yeah, that you accepted this to be able to to talk with you, so and to be able to record and like to share as a podcast. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, and we have to we have to like I mean there's so much knowledge that you can share, like all the things that you learned from amazing animators like Avise Avati. And like I like those like there's so much things we we can talk. I mean the
Of
talk
course, yeah.
that we did is not enough. And yeah, let's keep doing that. And yeah, thanks so much, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Speak to you soon.
yeah, talk to you soon. Yeah, cool.